Welcome to Culture on Tap. We are a podcast that is about bridging the cultural gap one conversation at a time. We have myself, Xavier Bright. We have Dale Young.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I expect you to talk back to me. I liked it though.
Oh, okay. Did you not?
No, I just wanted to say something.
Okay. All right. And we have our good friend, our best friend behind the camera, Range Armentar.
I want to point out not just is his last name spelled wrong, but his first name is spelled wrong. You would spell Range Range, but that ain't right. You got to throw an I in there.
We just threw an I, right? Smack dab in the middle.
Mom and Daddy said, we're just going to throw an I in the middle of this. I didn't think about it until the first one. The last name spelled wrong. First name spelled wrong.
Oh, that's great. That is awesome.
We love him, though.
Yes.
This is providence of God that when your name is spelled wrong, it just tells you you're going to be a little different than everybody else.
And Range is a lot different than everybody else.
I'm telling you, it's on the surface level when you see the name.
Yes, absolutely. But anyways, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share. On anywhere you can listen to or watch this podcast, whether it's Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. Make sure you hit the bell, so that you can get notifications whenever we have new content that's coming out, so that you can tap in with us. But today's episode is going to be a fun one.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to talk about probably the thing that has helped most in our sanctification process.
I agree.
You agree?
Yeah.
And that is marriage.
Yeah. I would say if you told me I could only preach on one thing the rest of my life, it would definitely be marriage for me.
Passionate about it?
Very passionate about it.
Yep.
Not that you're not.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's always been a thing for me. And I mean, we'll get into it probably because the stereotypical what a good marriage looks like is a lie.
Yeah.
So.
Strong
from the door.
Strong statement. Strong. So
from the dough.
Yeah, we are going to talk about it. But yes, I would agree. You are very passionate about it. Not just your own marriage, but the marriages around you.
Yes.
So it's awesome to have a friend who is so passionate about marriage and wants to see all marriage flourish.
I'd also add, because you're 10 in.
Yes.
And we're 20. This year's 20 for us.
Yeah.
This is a compliment. I will say, where you are at 10, I wish we'd have been at 10. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, even our friends, the Armentars. I would like to take some credit that I've helped y'all get there. But you still had to make the choices.
Absolutely.
But y'all were way beyond where we were at 10. We'll see what you do at 20.
Yeah. Yes. Should the Lord tarry, man, we ain't dead. That was really morbid. But I just, think about death a lot. I don't know why. But what was your initial expectation? You
of marriage.
Yeah, y'all were young.
We were young. So my wife was 18. I had just turned 21. She was not pregnant.
Thanks for specifying.
Well, because I mean, we lived in the SIP, so there's a stereotype of that, and even though everyone thought she was pregnant, she wasn't. We were just young and dumb. To be honest, I'm pretty a blunt guy. I wanted sex. I can sit here and go, I wanted to be married. I knew I loved her. The reality was I had surrendered to ministry. I already knew. My kids are watching, they're hearing this. I liked sex. Still do, just so we're clear. And I knew that she was the one I wanted to be with. Do I think we made a premature choice? Yes. Yeah. I would argue God blessed and glorified in spite of who we were. But yeah, early on, I knew I wanted to be with her. We'll get more into this. I think that where we were in our life, we desired for each of us to carry the other person's baggage. And we needed someone to carry the baggage that we didn't let Jesus carry.
Yeah.
And just so we're clear, we failed miserably at carrying baggage. We still do.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what about y'all early on? Expectations. 'Cause y'all were together.
It's junior high.
Yeah. Like we dated at the end of high school, and that was about it.
Yeah. We were together, if you want to call it that.
Y'all even went through the ugly year stage when your nose is too big for your face, and
man, well, I stunk.
when you smell
I
bad.
smelled.
You had the middle school smells going on, and she still wanted to be with you.
A burlap sack of onions. And she still wanted to be with me. I don't know why.
Knees and all.
My head was too big for my body. Like my head's the same size, but I was on a little body, so I looked like a little T-ball.
I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, it was. Then I had these, like it looked like dreads, but they were braids because I didn't take care of myself. So she was with me since then. But my initial expectation of marriage, I was blindly optimistic.
Okay.
I didn't think that we would fight much. I don't know why. I thought that.
Fought a lot.
I mean,
dating, right?
It was that was the thing. But I thought it would just
like
shift
so. When
over.
you say optimistic, do you mean optimism from we're going to be together forever, or we're just going to have a very healthy marriage?
We are going to have a healthy marriage because we will not fight.
Oh wow! Like I was optimistic that we would not divorce, and I really don't know why. Because Michelle's family, it's a pattern.
Yeah.
My family, it wasn't at the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that was in the cards for me. I wouldn't have said what you said.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah.
I guess because we made each other laugh so much. And I thought my expectation was I was going to be a welder because I went to welding school. I was going to make a lot of money, live comfortably, eventually have kids, and they were going to be model kids. And we were going to have the model marriage because we didn't fight.
So when did this change? Like this is all like ladies and gentlemen, right now, I want y'all to understand this is not my best friend.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to say you're a half empty glass. Maybe it's working with boys. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're a realist.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that's one thing that we're like, if we're in a room and there's people going, let's pour out grace, and there's people in the room saying, well, let's just get to the truth of what happened. We tend to lean on the truth side. Not that we don't want grace.
Yeah.
That's
no. It was. I don't know if it was like. I don't know what it was. I just thought that we weren't going to fight. We weren't going to be that marriage. We were going to.
That's cool. I honestly, like, even though it's a lie, it's cool that y'all had that. Maybe my wife would, like, I would never, like, I knew we gonna get down. Fighting, like, we fought pretty much right up to the wedding.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and if you think about who I am and you think about who Lauren is, ultra competitive, very proud. There was no way that was going to work. First off, in any marriage, but with us two,
right.
It was just, I don't know why I thought that. That was me. I thought that I was blindly optimistic that we weren't going to have any issues, and we were just gonna ride it out.
Good for you.
I don't know why.
I didn't feel that way. We from the jump, I knew we gonna fight.
So how did you think you were going to be as a husband?
So when we talked about doing this episode and you asked that question, how did I think I was going to be a husband? I had no idea. I was actually terrified to be a husband. I believe that my wife believed in me enough for the both of us.
Wow.
Like, just so we're clear, I'm a crier. He will in cases I'll drop it like I'm breathing. But I'll talk through it. It's a weird thing that I do. Just hang with me. No, I think back and I don't know if my wife saw in me who God could make me, or if she just needed a man to rescue her. like, I don't want to put words in my mouth, but I feel like it was one of the two or both.
Yeah.
And she believed in me early on that this is like, not that she told me to ask her to marry. I'd made that choice, but like, I knew she believed in me when most people didn't. And, and I think that the weird part was I didn't have a plan. Like, I didn't have like a job around the corner. I did not have like, this is where we're going to live. I have nothing. Like, we just out here. Like, like I had like, literally for me, being a good husband was, I'll help do the laundry. Like, I'll help. Like, I don't mind washing dishes.
Yeah.
I'll, you know, and the crazy part was, for me and for my wife, it was like, if you just do, like, you know, I grew up in that era. If you treat them like a queen, they'll treat you like a king. And I was like, oh, I can do that. Yeah. Which I couldn't, just so we're clear. Yeah. It didn't last long.
Right.
But, you know, I thought I was just a great husband because my wife was like, I want to make sure every night we go to bed at the same time.
Lauren said the same thing.
And I hated it. Because I'm a night out. I'm not anymore because I'm older, but like at the time, I was like, yeah. So we did that.
Yeah.
I know that's weird.
That is weird.
Because I don't know what the thing. That's a healthy marriage.
Yeah, what the thing with that is.
And back then we didn't have tablets and all for me to like. So I'm just laying in bed, just laying there, just looking around. Like, this is great.
And we didn't have a TV in our room, so
yeah. So I don't know that I had this idea of what it looked like to be a good husband. I think for me it was just I knew I wasn't going to cheat.
Yeah.
And I had no plans of leaving. Like, I prided myself on that I would never threaten to leave. Not that my actions wouldn't, but my words wouldn't. Right. So yeah, I didn't have this, like, I'm going to be great. I think she thought I was going to be great, and that was good enough for me. Yeah. Sounds bad. Yeah. But what about you? Like,
so internally, I was terrified.
Yeah.
Internally, I had very little confidence. If I'm honest, I would have never like threatened to leave or anything like that, but I figured that I would do bad enough to where she would leave. That's what I thought. Internally. Externally, I don't know if one of my good friends, Ray, if he ever listens to this, I don't remember, or I don't know if he remembers this, but we were sitting in my room and I was like, bro, I think one day I'm gonna write a book on marriage. I'm not married yet. But I'm talking about, I said that.
Oh, wow.
But it was a facade.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, I'm gonna do all of the things that scripture say, and I'm gonna do it great. But at the time, we were in a long distance relationship. She was off in college, and I was at home, and, you know, we're reading scripture together and doing all of these things over Skype.
No, that's cute.
You know, yeah, it was real cute.
Yeah.
But I was terrified.
Yeah.
Internally, but I didn't want anybody to know that I was. So I had to put on this facade and go the other direction. And, I'm going to be great. I'm going to be a model husband. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But internally, I am screaming for help because I'm like, there's no.
And I feel that because I feel like maybe I didn't have an expectation for myself. We did premarital counseling. And what this is really sad. What came from the premarital counseling was I'm the problem. Like that's literally what the guy basically said. He didn't say that, but he said that. And I was like, oh wow. Like,
yeah.
And like, so I was kind of like, you know, if we can just make it, and it was so different for me because besides Michelle, I've never had a committed relationship. I never dated anyone else longer than 3-4 weeks. Michelle's the only girl I've ever told I love you to. Girls were just objects. Like, and it wasn't, and I don't mean that like in a, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not sexual, but just like I was perfectly fine not having a girlfriend. So when I realized that I was in love with someone, it moved rapidly.
Yeah.
And no one was there in my life, I think, to go, how does this work with God? In fact, I don't know that we ever had anyone breathe truth into us of what a godly marriage could and should look like at that point. We just knew we wanted to be together.
Yeah.
And I knew she was hot, and I had some urges.
Yeah.
So in ministry, that's not a good look. So we need to get married.
Right. Right. So how did you think Michelle was going to be as a wife?
It's funny before we got married, I saw, and she, and I think you and Range behind the camera, but would agree, a very confident woman. Mm-hmm. She always been that. She's, her mom worked night shift. Her parents were separated. She basically raised her brother most of her life. She's been an adult way before I ever thought about being an adult. So I was like, we're going to be all right. She's confident. But I remember, it's so funny. We went on our honeymoon. We're driving home from my honeymoon, and it's just quiet because the honeymoon's over. Mm-hmm. And now we got to live together.
Real life, yeah.
And she's sitting next to me. She's probably dying that I'm sharing this right now. But and I was going to hear her start whimpering. And if y'all, she don't cry. She's not a crier like me. And I'm like, I look over and she's crying. And I was like, babe, what's wrong? And she literally looked at me and goes, I want my mama. And I should have been like, babe, we're going to do this. We're going to be all right. I didn't. I just put my hands back on the wheel and just kept on driving. I did not say.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking, I want you to have your mama too. I was thinking, I don't want to do this any more than you do.
Yeah,
I want to go, because I'm literally thinking in the car, if I go back to my mama's house, I have my own bedroom with my own TV, with my own, I can watch movies.
Yeah.
But now I got to go to this one bedroom home that we are renting that has a window unit and has an avocado colored tub. We ain't never cooked a meal in our life. And I'm like, and now we got to eat together.
Yeah.
And we don't have TV. We owned 2 seasons of Friends on DVDs and 2 seasons of American Choppers. That's it. And I'm like, I don't know that I want to do this any more than you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, so early on, I've said this a bunch, overall, I knew that she was going to be, the sad truth is, for the longest, I knew that she would be the leader for a while. She was the spiritual backbone of our home for a long time before I stepped up to be who I'm supposed to be. I'm in ministry because she believed in me, not because I believed in me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put all the eggs are all in her basket.
Yeah.
If this is going to work, it's going to be because of you.
Yeah.
And I think it stemmed from, I remember our wedding day. She's scared. I've never been more scared. Most people are like, it was beautiful. I was terrified. So first, she's getting ready to walk down the aisle, and her brother looks at me and says, if you want out, this is your last chance, which is not helpful.
Yeah.
But then we get to the altar, and she says to me, no matter what you do, I'll never leave you. And that freaked me out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hold on. I didn't remember us saying, I know we say for better, for worse, but there's some things in the worst that I'm not down for, I don't think. Mm-hmm. And she's like, anything, whatever, I'm down. And I was like,
a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure for me. So yeah, I think I thought, if I'm being honest, I thought we'd have a whole lot of sex, and she would love me well, and she would basically turn me into an adult.
Yeah.
I don't think I thought that at the time, but I think that's who I was. Even though I was older, I was still a kid.
Yeah.
Boys don't grow as quick as girls, maturity wise.
Yeah. What
about you?
So there's this idea, I think, and this is maybe a controversial statement. I don't really care. But there's this idea that women are supposed to be just quiet in evangelical spaces.
Yeah, I feel that.
Where they don't say anything or they say very little. And so I think I was trying to fit Lauren into that model.
That's not a good choice.
No. But I wasn't overtly doing it.
Right.
I wasn't saying, because I was the passive one.
Right.
Right. She was the loud, like not like demonstrative, not like just always in your face, but she was an extrovert. And so I was like, this is what she has to be. She has to be quiet. And whenever she fits into that mold, then she'll be a great wife, type of thing, which is horrible thought. Like, God didn't make women to be our mini-me's or good. Our administrative assistants.
Yeah.
She's called to be an extraordinary her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And whenever I was like, that was my heart, that was my posture towards her, and it's horrible. But that's who I thought she should be. That's who, if I'm honest, I feel as though the church
teaches
no, I all women are supposed to be this way, all men are supposed to be this way, and if you're not that, then you're lesser than.
Yeah.
Which does the strong, confident woman an injustice, because you're trying to silence her and she has something to say.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So I thought that's who she was going to be, because I thought that's what she was supposed to be. And she's not that.
No, I think that's a good point. Like, and just so y'all know, in our friend group, me and his wife are very similar, and then my wife and him are very similar. Mm-hmm. We're both loud, very outspoken, wear our emotions on our sleeve, and you will know where we stand. Where Xavier and Michelle would dye dress and even make subtle looks. Like, if someone missays a word, they're going to find each other in the room. And it's usually me, so we're clear. I did it even to, like, we had service today, and I spoke, and I don't know what I said. I just saw them.
You didn't say anything wrong. It was
just me.
Yeah.
And they laughed, and I know, I'm like, they're laughing at me. I know who they're laughing at. It's me. But so yes, but I think that's really good, because I remember early on, because me and my wife come out of different religious backgrounds. I grew out of Southern Baptist, and she came out of Assembly of God, even though we went to the same youth group. And so I came out of this background of, this is how things are done, and she's asking why. And I remember the first time I went to someone that I respected the ministry and said, well, my wife's asking these questions, what do I do? And they said, first of all, why is your wife asking questions? Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, that might work in your house.
Yeah.
Like, but I ain't going home with that answer.
Right.
And honestly, her questions, her determination is what changed a lot of my views in my upbringing.
So we talk about our expectation in marriage. We talked about, what you thought you were going to be as a husband, what you thought she was going to be as a wife. What was the reality? Like what actually happened? Like how was it?
It was horrible. I tell people all the time, the first 2 years of our marriage was pure hell. All we did was love each other and fight. And I'm using the word love gracefully.
Right.
But no, I mean, I think that we could not agree on anything. So I am very OCD about things. From the way the toothpaste is, to the speed of the fan in the bedroom, to just every little thing we could argue about, we did. And it was never, let me hear you. It was always, I'm going to win.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can.
Like, I'm a winner. Like, and I'm not going to, even if you get me and I realize in my head, oh, I can't come back from that, I'll just switch the argument up.
Yeah.
Like,
I was the same way.
Yeah. So it was a lot of arguing. In fact, the only reason I think that, because we really hadn't gotten to the early struggles completely, yeah. But the only reason we made it those years is because she refused to follow the pattern of her family of divorces, and I refused to let her lose in that area. That's it. If it was any other, like, and I was in ministry, like I knew, like if this ends, I'm done.
Right.
So, we'd put our good Wednesday, Sunday face on and get at it the rest of the week.
Yeah.
What about y'all?
I was passive. The only time I was aggressive was whenever we were intimate. And Lauren was the leader, and I was okay with that, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Horrible communication. We were just two individuals living under the same roof. And so we got married in June. I think we did our honeymoon. We went to Chicago for the Legacy Conference in July. And then after that, she was gone. She had to go back to Evangel University in Springfield, Missouri.
How long were y'all apart?
So from late July, early August until late October is whenever I moved up. So I'm in.
So you're really not even doing marriage.
No.
You're still a single dude with a ring on your finger.
Absolutely. And so whenever I move up, we're in an apartment. We are like, I remember I got up there, first off, completely different culture. Being from Houston and seeing diversity all the time, going there, I was a fly in a bowl of milk. And just out there, just, doing it.
Yeah.
But we go to we had a Dollar General that was right across the street from our apartment. And we're buying things to make for dinner. And we're like, so what do we get? What do you get? What do you like?
Yeah.
And we're literally just trying to figure each other out. And it was just, I was just sitting in the dark all the time because I had no friends, no family.
Yeah.
This is the first time in my life.
And you naturally are introvert. So you ain't going out to try
I'm not going anywhere to talk to anybody to do that. No, I'm not doing it. So that was a lot of my issue. She's not that. She's been there for 2 years at that point, playing softball, going to school. So, she kind of already has the feel for the city and things of that nature. But it was horrible. And I would say at least 75% of it was my doing. Because I wasn't leading well. And I was just thinking about myself. On the other end, she's thinking about herself. And I'm not doing anything to change that. And she's dominating me and I'm allowing it. So it was horrible.
Early marriage, what was your go-to meal?
Spaghetti.
Hamburger Helper. I won't even eat Hamburger Helper anymore, but we ate and Ranges and everything, like, because Range, they always ate right. Like they grew up different.
Yeah.
Like we ate Hamburger Helper. Oh my gosh.
Spaghetti. Lauren would make loaded mashed potatoes.
Okay.
Please.
We ain't cooking nothing like that.
Yeah. But
it come in a box. We wouldn't
eat spaghetti. A lot of pizza rolls. Bagel bites.
Yeah.
Fried everything.
I already working at the church. So we were always excited when someone wanted to take us out to eat, which happened quite often. But yeah, no, I mean, and what you're saying, like, I think that leads us right into like earlier struggles. So for me, when I think of our earlier struggles, I think the issue was that we didn't deal with the issues beforehand.
Yeah.
Not that I think we would have cleared those issues up. I say this all the time to students now. Like, if you go on a date, the first question she asks is, "What kind of crazy are you?" Because we all kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody got crazy in them.
Yeah.
And and I feel like for us, our baggage was, I have a wife that has daddy issues.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, didn't realize it. I had daddy issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got married, and my wife wanted me to fill the hole for daddy issues. But I wasn't capable, nor did I want to. And it was one of those things where she needed that affirmation from a man. I grew up where my job is to win, but if I saw that I'm going to lose, I just walk away. Mm-hmm. So like I felt extremely defeated in those years. And what made it worse was because I wasn't being the man she needed, she started clinging back to her father. Which, as a man, like, you don't be calling your daddy.
Yeah.
Even if he does have the right answer and I don't call him.
Right.
Like, I'm here.
Right.
Like,
right.
I understand I don't know how to fix that, but don't call him.
Yeah.
And so,
pride. It's like
right there.
You ain't supposed to do that.
Yeah. And so we early on, it was just basically it was, I'm going to throw my baggage at you and you're going to throw your baggage at me. And we did a lot of that, of just hurting each other.
Yeah.
In fact, it probably went on for the first 7 years of our marriage. We got better at it where it was like, I'm still going to throw it at you, but I'm going to throw it at you in a way where you can't just yell at me for throwing it. Like I've learned how to package it better, maybe like put it in wrapping paper or something. And what started to change the trajectory for me was at this point, we're in ministry. We had moved to Texas, and God was doing a lot in my ministry.
Yeah.
And I guess I'd done a really awesome message that day, and people were just, excited about it. And after the service over, my wife came to me and said, I wish the man that was on that platform would be the man in my home. And initially, your pride's like, how dare you?
Yeah.
But thankfully, the Holy Spirit was like, you know how hard that is for her to say that? And I'm not going to say that we fixed it that day, but that was the beginning of me going, what I've always known isn't working.
Yeah.
So we need to figure it out.
Yeah.
So early struggles.
Horrible communication. Like where, y'all are throwing baggage at each other. We hiding baggage from each other. We ain't throwing it. We ain't dealing with it. We ain't doing
putting it under the couch.
We just all over the house, in the washing machine, wherever we can store it. But a lot of it, I was still a boy. We got married whenever I was 22. She was 20, about to be 21. I was still a boy in a lot of ways. We were so competitive. So this whole idea of we're not going to fight, there was one time within our first year of marriage where we didn't talk to each other for 3 days over a Uno game.
Dude, that's crazy. Like, that's a lot. Did you win or lose?
I can't remember.
Oh,
which
man.
is good.
That's good.
Which is
good. That's good.
Which is good.
That was a test.
I can't. I really want to know. I can't remember who won. Being that we didn't talk to each other for 3 days, she probably won. It was probably me, but I really don't remember. There was another time we're playing basketball. We're playing one-on-one, and she's still a collegiate athlete at this point. So she has a scholarship to play softball,
right?
To be on the field.
Yeah.
The one-on-one game got pretty intense. I ended up dropping her on her neck, and she's on the ground. I score the winning basket, and then I go check on her to see if she's okay.
Yeah, that didn't win you husband of the year.
No, but doing things it was, but we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
She would want to talk about it, but I wouldn't go there. But I think a lot of it was, for one, you don't show emotion. I stuff things down and all of that, and it's okay. But two, she had undealt with pain from her past, from things that she had been through, but also some things that I caused
Right.
whenever we were in high school and things of that nature. So there was still this, I don't
There's
trust you
elephants in
fully.
the room, but we are
Man,
not talking
we're
about.
not. And it's not that she wasn't willing.
Yeah.
It's just I wouldn't go there.
Right.
I didn't want to go there. But things like that, like fighting over Uno games, or not fighting, just not talking with each other over Uno games and things of that nature. It was just constant.
Yeah.
And the only time we were in agreement was whenever we were, intimate. That was it.
Which is a sad. Like I think about how, because I know y'all are like us, that y'all are in the Word. How you can be, because I mean I'm teaching every week at this point, in the Word and loving your wife so badly.
Yeah.
And it almost feeling like this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like and I think that's why you see so many Christian marriages that struggle, because we just won't go there.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thing.
Yeah. Not willing to go there. Let's not even talk about it.
Because let's be honest, all that is my pride is more important than your pain.
Yeah.
And that's rough.
Yeah. 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 Early struggles. That was it. Current struggles. What are y'all currently wrestling through?
I don't want to paint this picture that, man, we are literally holding hands with Jesus in our marriage, and we just we do everything that way. But I will say that after 7 years of just trying to figure it out, we started seeking counsel and wisdom and reading books and just like, God, remold us and make us in who you want us to be as one. And we really adopted this, that we are one person. Everything we do is one. So I would say not that I'd be lying to say that, our past doesn't still cause arguments. It can. It still hurts. It's still there. But I would say that we don't have those typical struggles like that. I think our biggest struggle is every once in a while wanting to be selfish. And I think that's the biggest thing. And we're pretty good about reminding each other of that. And I think that our craving, we adopted a long time ago that our marriage should be our greatest witnessing tool, that our love for each other should show that Jesus is real.
Yeah.
And I think that we try to embody that with our marriage, to our children, to our friends, to everybody. And again, we can argue still with the best of them. And I think, though, a big thing that we have just really tried to do is be Jesus for the other person.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, I don't think that we have. I'm trying to, as we wrote that down, current struggles, there's things that come up where, and I think that's, if we have family issues where it used to be figure it out, you ain't taking it out on me. Now it's I want to be broken for you. I want, if I need to be your punching bag, then let's do this. And I think, people go, well, it's 20 years. Well, I maybe that does play into it, but I also think it's because I love my wife.
Yeah.
And I love her. I try to love her like Jesus loves her.
Yeah.
So y'all, current struggles.
I would say communication. I mean, we are miles ahead of where we were. But communication is still a thing for us. I mean, heck, yesterday we got into it, or didn't get into it.
Communication.
Yeah. She had an expectation. I had an expectation. And yeah, we didn't communicate well.
So I will say communication is not ours. One that pops in my head is trust, from the standpoint of not that we don't trust each other, not trusting the other person can handle the issue. So we tend to try to take on burdens without because they can't handle that. We're better. My shoulders are stronger.
Then
And so I think that communication has never been ours. But I can see.
Yeah, I mean, I had to apologize. We both apologized this morning for the poor communication. But it's just whenever it's been in you for so long and you're working on it and you're seeing improvement, sometimes it's easy to just revert back
Absolutely.
to what's comfortable, to what's easy in the moment.
Right.
It's easier not to have an argument or tell you how I'm feeling in this moment, and I'll just, thinking about it, I'll just walk around mad,
Right. Right.
but I won't address the elephant in the room type of thing. Yeah, but communication is still a current struggle. We're miles better, but it's still a big thing. So 20 years, how have y'all endured during that time?
I think for us, it's realizing that outside of Jesus, there's nothing else more important.
Mm-hmm.
My children will tell you, it's a joke, but it's the truth in our house. Who does mom love the most? Who does dad love the most besides Jesus? And it's always each other. And
Yeah.
and the kids are like, we know. And so I think for us, it's getting past the selfishness and going, I want to see you healed.
Yeah.
Because there's been pain. In the time that we've been married, like her parents have been divorced. Her parents have been divorced. Her dad multiple times. Her mom's been married twice. In the time we've been married, my parents have gotten divorced. I'd never experienced that. Like we joked that we were going to be this. I come from this Leave It to Beaver type family, and my whole life was shattered in that. And so instead of my wife having this mindset of now you know what it feels like, she knows how to help me walk through it.
Yeah.
And I will say that we have learned how to sacrifice and submit to each other through the years. And there's some areas that I feel like kill it, and there's some areas where it's like, man, why are we not better than that at this yet?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that for us, it's it's a new season. We're not getting younger, our kids are getting older, and it's just trying to figure out what that looks like. For us, we love spending time together. Like that's my thing. She's my best friend of everyone.
Yeah.
Like as long as I've got her, we're good.
Yeah.
Like no, don't get me wrong. There's days where I'm like, I do not want to hang out with you, but
yeah.
But for the most part, like I would never want to be with anybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
20
for sure.
years. There's been pain, there's been death, there's been. I think back at those early years when we had nothing, and sometimes miss it. And I think about just some things that we've had to walk through with bad choices and different things, and even the blessings. And my hope is, if there's 20 more, that we don't allow the pain or the prosperity of what we get to change our marriage.
Yeah.
I think
that's good.
I think that's been the biggest thing, is not allowing either one to identify who we are as a couple.
That's good. That's real good. I think for us, it may sound cliche, but I think when we stopped fighting against each other and started fighting for each other, that's when it started to make a difference in our marriage. And fighting for each other in prayer, fighting for each other in having the tough conversation.
Yeah.
Fighting for each other in challenging one another. I can recall Lauren challenging me at the rodeo, of all places.
That's a very masculine place too.
Oh man, I don't even know how to
bull riders out there.
I don't even know how to rope anything.
Yeah.
I could tie a knot.
Cowboy boots on.
I could tie a knot. That's about it. But we're at the rodeo, and she's like, I feel like I don't know who you are. I feel like, you hold things in. You expect me to open up. You expect me to be this person because it's quote unquote easy for me, but you're not doing the same thing. And I'm like, you're right. You've asked for this, so I'm going to open up the floodgates.
Thought you were coming with some deep fried Oreos and came out with.
No, we came out with deep conversation. But it was good.
Yeah.
It was freeing for me, because it's like, she doesn't just want to know my stuff to use it against me. She wants to help me.
Yeah, she loves you.
Right, like she.
Sometimes we have to remind ourselves they love you.
Yeah,
like they want to know because they love you.
Yeah,
but I think you hit it on the head though. She says she doesn't know you. Would you agree? The greatest thing that I know for us, the greatest thing that happens in your marriage is when you figure out who you are.
Yeah,
because until you know who you are, you can't love them for who they need you to be.
Right.
So,
and when we realize that most of our fights were over expecting the other to give the other what only Jesus could give.
Right.
And that's wholeness.
Right.
But I'm trying to, like, she's trying to get wholeness from me, and I'm trying to get wholeness from her, and it's just like, that's never going to work.
Right.
You know, like that's never going to be a thing. And I mean, when we started embracing God's love, but connecting that with each other, realizing mature love isn't a feeling.
That's good.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's covenant. You know, like like all of these different things, like when we started focusing on serving the other rather than looking to be served, like just so many practical things that we had begun to do, it changed everything. And again, we still struggle. Like I said, we got into a fight yesterday, or we didn't fight. But like whenever we started fighting for each other and not against each other, that made all the difference.
But I think what you're saying fighting, if you're watching and you're a reader, I love the book You and Me Forever, and one of the chapters there is called Fighting Well. Fighting is inevitable. Mm-hmm. If you put two people that are flesh and bone together, they're going to fight, and it's learning how to fight well as a couple. So this ain't in our notes, but here's a question for you. My mind just went blank. Oh, let's come back around. So being married 10 years, do you think you actually loved your wife on your wedding day? Or did you love the idea of your wife?
I mean, that's tough. I think
you believed you did.
I think I loved her as, I don't think that I loved her obviously the way that I do now. But I do think I loved her as a person. I wanted to see her flourish.
Yeah.
I wanted to see these things. I didn't know if I was the person to do it for her or to help her through that process. But we had known each other. I mean, we were kids.
Yeah, for me and Michelle were together right at 3 years before we got married. And I look back now after 20 years, I think I believe that young man truly believed he loved her like no one else could. But I think I love the idea of loving her.
Okay, yeah.
And the love I have for my wife now, the other is a joke.
Yeah.
But I think that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I think if a wife or a husband says the way you love me on my wedding day is better than 20 years in, you failed
horribly. Like you gotta do some digging.
You got.
We need some counseling.
Real fast.
We need help.
So another question I have before we jump into this, like I'm going off script, and
you're good.
What do you think is the worst suggestion, thing that people throw out there about marriage?
That my wife had to be quiet.
No, I'm not talking specifically you, just in general that you hear people say.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that. I was like, that was the worst.
In general, like that you hear people say.
What do I think the worst one is?
Yeah. That they mask it under biblical pretense.
Probably that one for me.
See, I figured,
just thinking off the top of my head,
because me and you've talked a lot about, I want to make her happy, or I want to make him happy.
Yeah.
So speak on that, because I think that what you say on that is very impactful.
Yeah.
I should have served that up better.
Yeah, you didn't like that. We're going off script.
We're supposed to hey.
I mean, I'm just saying, which is fine. But yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, we are not called to make our wife happy.
Amen.
It's
not wrong.
Happiness.
It's not wrong.
Happiness is fleeting. what makes me happy today will not make me happy tomorrow. The only thing probably is Chipotle. That's for me personally, but
it's growing on me.
It should. It should grow on you like a weed. But we are called to make our wife holy. In the process of helping them become holy, a byproduct is happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever we make
seeking holy, you're never going to not be happy.
Holiness is the absolute, happiness is the variable.
Right.
That goes around. Whenever we make happiness the absolute, we fail horribly.
Yes, you can't win. It's like playing Monopoly without dice.
There is nothing that my wife can do for the next 40 years, the same thing over and over, that's going to make me happy over and over. There's nothing that I can do.
Just thinking, just Christmas Day alone. Like you.
We don't want to talk about Christmas. That's a sore spot.
My wife's been killing it though. She killed it.
My wife has not, but that's another topic. She's probably gonna kill me for saying that.
They switched.
Wow.
They switched. We out here now.
Wow.
But I mean, think about it. Even in that birthdays and Christmas, like you will fail.
Yeah.
If the goal is happiness.
Yeah.
Because it's
just think about Christmas though. Like you open the presents and you're sad that Christmas is over.
It's over. Yeah. Like you didn't get the one thing you hinted at 9 times.
Yeah.
And like it was clear as day that's what you wanted.
Right.
And you didn't. I'm not speaking to you. I don't know what
No.
So we're clear.
No,
I don't know what you did.
No.
But no, I mean, even like I think about it this way, like we would agree outside of spiritual, happiest place on earth is where?
Oh, Disney. Disneyland, Disney World.
And even me and my wife have gotten arguments there because she's rearranged what I think would make me happy for the day.
Yeah.
Because if you ever go with my wife, there is no standing still. We are at full strut to the next ride. And
we are burning calories.
Big time.
Yep.
And so, like, I think that's so true. Like, it's a losing battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good stuff. So, back on script. Advice. So, advice for passive husbands.
First off, if you're disconnected from healthy men who are going to challenge you, get connected.
Yeah.
That's one thing that helped me, even though at the time I wasn't listening a lot, but I had a few men in Springfield that were helping me out a lot. If you are, just think about this, if you're passive, the reason why our wives may seem contentious is probably because they don't trust that we can lead them.
That's good. That's good.
You know, we're married to a person that does not meet all of our conditions, so we might learn unconditional love.
I like it.
So if we are pursuing them in the way that we were supposed to, they are like, I remember, bro, the first time, well, I don't remember the year, but I remember thinking the first time Lauren asked my advice on something, I was like, wait, what? Like, she was like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, oh, snap. Is this what it feels like? Have I arrived? Clearly I didn't. But like I was moving into that direction of showing my wife that I actually care.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because what it would come off as is she would say something and I wouldn't respond, or I would give like whatever, like I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But showing her that I actually do care.
Yeah.
Leading in that way, not being passive, it helped so much.
Right.
But it stemmed from getting discipleship. It stemmed from being intentional in those conversations that I was having with my wife that made all of the difference, and obviously seeking the Lord. But it's like, yeah, like it was huge for me whenever I was making those necessary changes and growing in God.
Yeah.
That made all the difference. As far as for more aggressive husbands, what advice would you give?
So clearly you can see that we take, he would be the passive one. I am
Yes.
clearly the aggressive one. No,
Yes.
I would say, first thing I'm going to say is learn to listen. Maybe if you speak less, your words will mean more.
Yeah, that's good.
I think I do agree that wives want men that are going to lead their home. Sometimes leading is allowing them to have the best idea. And just so we're clear, men, your wife can have the best idea.
Yeah.
They have a brain. And there's sometimes that they see things, look in on things that we look at different. Especially for us aggressive men, we're irrational a lot, especially when we feel like we're failing. Our pride kicks in. Literally this week, me and my wife ran over to Woodlands to have a lunch date. And on the way there, we were talking about our children. And I went illogical. Like I was like, if our daughter doesn't do this by this date, she's going back to public school. And my wife was like, okay, that seems a lot. And 10 years ago, I'd been like, don't patronize her. Don't like, and instead of me going, she's speaking truth and she's trying to speak to me patiently. And as she spoke things that she was actually doing, I was like, you're right. Maybe she's not doing it the way I would want her to do it, but she is moving forward.
Yeah.
And so I think that speaking less, learning how to make your words mean more, and even in the way we deliver, aggressive men feel like their way is the way. And most of the time, I'm just being honest, when we have that mindset, we're wrong.
Yeah.
And I will say this, because you're passive doesn't make you weak. And because you're aggressive doesn't make you strong.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really weak men that are aggressive, and they use their aggressiveness to hide the fact that they're scared and they don't know how to do something.
That's good.
Instead of just saying, I don't have an answer for this. I don't know. And I think that's okay. I think that God gave you a helpmate to help.
Yeah.
And sometimes your helpmate can do it better than you.
Yeah.
And so I think that we have to take that mindset, a sacrificial mindset, which is very hard for someone that's aggressive.
Yeah. No, that's good. I guess we could end with a question that I always ask.
Okay.
Whenever it comes to marriages, particularly whenever we're talking to men, I always ask the question, is your wife more like Christ because she is married to you, or more like Christ in spite of you?
That's a question.
Something that we can all ask ourselves. Am I hard to follow?
No one wants to follow someone they can't see.
Marriage is not for the lazy. Whether you've been married for a year, 10 years, 50 years.
It's hard every day.
Every single day, we have to look to invest into our marriage rather than just thinking that it's going to get better just because we've been together for so long. That's not reality.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is I hear men all the time say, I want a wife that stands behind me and lifts me up. Are you such a heavy burden that they can't do it? The goal is for you to be the closest thing they can see to Jesus on this side of heaven.
Yeah.
When you put your head on your pillow at night, you should ask yourself, do I love my wife in a way that she could see Jesus? Because that changes everything.
Yeah.
Good days or bad. We should not shy away from the bad days, and we should relish in the good days.
Yeah.
So,
amen.
Look
stuff. For resolution, not resignation.
That's good.
That's good.
Did that just come to you?
Wow, that did.
Wow.
Wow.
Look at here.
Look at God.
Look what God can do.
So thank you for tapping in with us. We will see you guys next time. This has been Culture on Tap. See ya. Culture on Tap is sponsored by Houston Radio Platinum, playing the best classic hits. You can download the Houston Radio Platinum app. It's in your app store, or just ask Alexa to play Houston Radio Platinum.